Malaak Compton-Rock, my guest today for Girl Let's Talk. Hi, Malaak.
Hello, how are you?
I'm wonderful. This is your how manyth time in the
40th
country?
time when
40th.
when I landed on Sunday.
40.
I started counting after like 20. I was like, this is worth counting.
This might be significant.
Right.
Sure. So what keeps you coming back?
I always tell people I need South Africa more than South Africa needs me.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just lifted up in this country. It fills me up. It's changed literally the trajectory of my life.
My goodness.
But in these years, I've been able to start what I think is some really good programming, investing in girls. And so it keeps me coming back. I have work to do.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't only travel just this country. I mean, you've been speaking about the fact that you've been traveling all over, Africa. How many African countries have you traveled to?
You know what? I've never counted, but I will tell you, I am very, very well traveled in West Africa.
Okay.
Benin, Ivory Coast, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Nigeria, Togo. I love East Africa too.
Yeah.
Kenya, Tanzania.
I got the Kenya bracelet, you see.
Oh, yes. But can I tell you something? I had an amazing experience in Benin because Benin has an amazing, in a town called Ouida, door of no return, which is basically you stand there. As an African American, it's like bone chilling, where you stand where the slave ships left to go to the Americas. And what Benin is trying to do now is bring back as many African Americans as possible and saying, if you can link your DNA to West Africa, we will give you citizenship. We'll give you a passport because this is your home. So going to Benin this year was just like literally last week was really, really remarkable for me as an African American and somebody who cares so deeply about my connections to this continent.
Do they have a percentage they're looking for?
Of how many? Right.
Yes.
Because, I mean, listen, from the African American standpoint, we're 15% of the population. This is where we come from.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where we come from.
Insane.
And the thing is that, we didn't mark the borders. The colonists marked the borders. And that's why Benin is like, we don't care if the DNA links you to Ghana or Sierra Leone or Ivory Coast or Senegal. If it's West Africa, you are part of who we are.
Sure.
Because those slaves, traced across borders prior to getting on those slave ships. So, yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah, it was.
It would be quite remiss of me if I didn't ask, how are you? Because, I mean, just given the political climate in America, how are you coping? And how are you and your community trying to live through this tenure?
Well, first of all, I need you to come get your man Elon.
He's not ours.
We don't want him.
He's not ours. You can have it.
Like literally the havoc that he has wreaked over the last year, right? 6 months leading up to the election and then 6 months since the orange man has been in office. Elon has wreaked so much havoc. And can I tell you something? Was really sad of it. I'm the mother of 3 kids, right? I have a 17, a 21, and a 23-year-old.
Sure.
So they're young women. More than likely, I will not be on this earth long enough to see the reversal of what this administration has done thus far. That's the reality. Now, I think one reason why I was so uplifted and enlightened to be in West Africa is because my West African family was telling me, we want you, you belong, these are your roots, these are your history, at the same time that my country is basically telling me that my African American history does not matter. They want to erase from universities, from government, our history. They're telling universities, don't allow international students to come, take away diversity, equity, inclusion programs, stop teaching Black history. Don't even say the word in some schools. Don't even say the word Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, slavery. It's an abomination. It's an abomination. It's hard to be Black and brown right now in America.
It really
you have to dig
is.
deep. You have to dig deep. You have to dig deep.
I've seen there's quite a lot of conversation, specifically around Black women, in terms of protecting ourselves from things that don't require us. Because a lot of times we are roped into conversations as well as movements where we are the front runners, but you don't actually get the benefits of that. So how are you protecting yourself from that level of advocacy that, this one doesn't need me?
Yeah. You know what's interesting about it? I speak to my friends about this all the time because Black women in America have been on the forefront of all movements, right? And so we worked incredibly, incredibly hard first trying to get Joe Biden elected. And then that abomination happened. But then it's like, okay, Kamala, let's get her elected. And we worked really hard. For the second time, white women were the reason why we lost this election. And so a lot of my friends, it's like the mind is 50-50. There's 50% of my friends who are like, I'm sitting this out. You guys did this. You created this mess. We tried.
Yeah.
I'm done. And then there's a 50% of us who are like, let's take a little rest, right? Because we have to rest. We have to feed our souls. But then we got to get back in the fight. Because if we don't get back in the fight, who's going to get in the fight, right? Because at the end of the day, we're going to have the midterm elections. We got to try to win back the House.
Sure.
And then we got to try to put forward a Democratic nominee who can come in after, this one. Well, he says does he think he's a king or a whatever, and that he's going to run again?
Definition changes every day.
Let's see. But,
sure.
Yeah.
What a time.
I'm one who I want to rest, but I know I can't rest.
Yeah. It's within you. It's within you.
I got to keep going.
How are the girls doing?
The girls are fantastic.
Really?
I have my big one lives in France. She lives in Paris.
Oh, nice.
I don't think she's ever going to come back.
I don't blame her.
Yeah, she's my foodie, and France is a fantastic place to be.
Yeah.
She has a journalism degree. She wants to tell stories about food and culture. My middle one is at university in California. She's going to go into her junior year. And my little one just got back from doing 3 weeks of service in Fiji.
Sure.
And now she's at a university in Rhode Island taking a summer course in climate justice.
Sure.
Yeah. So the girls are all over the place.
You are raising.
Which is why I could travel for as long as I've been on the road, because they've been busy.
Yeah. What are some things that you feel like they have had to hold your hand, and of course, Dad's hand, in terms of navigating the new world that we live in? Because you probably have your own definition of what this world is, and they're experiencing it in a whole different way, and they have to take charge regarding that.
They do. I think at the heart, my girls are little activists. It's interesting because I watch their social media, and I'm always very proud that they use that space to uplift issues that they find of importance. And this is the time to do that. Yeah. I definitely think that all three fully understand. Well, look at the one who's at university right now taking a course in climate justice. I think she understands that if we don't get a handle in this climate, obviously we have a president right now who doesn't even believe in climate change, but she knows that she still needs to do her part. Yeah. My middle one really spends a lot of time advocating for women's rights, women's health rights, LGBTQ issues, keeping that, on the forefront. And my big one, is one who came to me when she was like 13 and said, I'm moving. I'm going to university. I don't even want to look at universities in the United States. She's a global citizen. So her little friendship circle is so fascinating and interesting to me because it's so incredibly diverse. Yeah. So yeah, I have fun. It's fun watching your kids kind of find their place. Yeah.
And then in terms of parenting, what is it like to have kids who are somewhat self-driven and they're leading their own paths, and now I don't know, for me, I already feel like I'm going to be a helicopter mom. I can feel it. So how do you manage wanting to manage them but then also allowing them lead? Yeah,
because at least, I don't know, but in the Black community, I'm your mama.
Yes.
And what I say goes.
Yeah.
And I don't care that you're 21 or 23. You still need my money.
Yeah.
And what I say goes. So I think that I have a balance of the fact that my girls respect me as their mother, respect me when I say, listen to you. I am older. I came before you. Yeah. There are lessons that I've learned that you really, really need to listen to. But then on the other hand, allow them to also make mistakes, right? They have to make mistakes. You cannot... As a mother, sometimes you want to fix everything. Sometimes you just can't. You have to allow them to figure it out. But what I realize is that the guidance doesn't end, right? Like I said, 23, 21, 17. I am still very much engaged, very much involved in guiding this path forward for them because they need it. But at the same time, allowing them to be who they are. I mean, listen, my older one is like, I'm living abroad. Yeah. My little one is like, I'm leaving New York. I'm going to California. That's all she wanted to do. She wanted to go to university in California. And my little one is not quite sure yet, but I'm, listen, she wanted to go to Fiji. Okay, fine. Now she's in Rhode Island, so, I think you allow them to be who they are, and my children are very different. They're very close, but very different. So what I give each of them is slightly different because of that. But at the same time, I am their mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the line. I like it. Malaak, you're here for the whole hour, right? They did tell you. The team told you. Okay. You're here for the whole hour. We're going to be chatting to her in a bit. Lots of themes to cover. So please make sure if you have a question, something that taints your heart, do make sure to send us a message. We are talking like crazy. It's Elaine Risky here in Kaya 959. I got a special guest today. Her name is Malaak Compton-Rock. There's so many conversations. We're talking about my little sister and her girls as well, who are now applying for varsity. It really is a stressful process to go through. Now, Malaak, life in the 50s. How is that?
Life in the 50s is fantastic.
Really?
Yes. When I was in my 40s and I would hear women that I admire say, well, wait till you get to the 50s.
Yeah.
Everything changes. I didn't think that they were correct. And I must say, as I was inching towards 50, I was a little apprehensive.
Yeah.
But listen, I just made 56
Sure.
in June, and I screamed it to the rooftops. I mean, I literally, anybody who wanted to hear, I told them I was turning 56. I feel good. I feel like, black don't crack. So
all. Listen, I'm seeing her in 4K right now. It has not cracked.
Right? I'm holding tight. I still have dreams that I'm trying to accomplish. Yeah. I'll be an empty nester soon. So this 17-year-old of mine who will be going, so she's going to be a senior this year and then off to university. Then all my kids will be out of the house. So I'm looking, obviously it's going to be a bit sad, but on the other hand, I am looking forward to being in control of my own schedule, right? Because now as moms, everything we schedule, we first go, well, what are our kids doing?
Yeah.
What do our kids need? Can I do this? Can I accomplish this? Can I be there? So I think it's going to be quite freeing to be able to say yes to things I might not have said yes to,
I'm with you.
Before.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. You said when 50 hits, everything changes. What changed for you?
Haven't you heard women say that you just do you and you don't worry about what others think? That's really, really true. I mean, it's really, really true. I also think I am surrounded by really, really wonderful women, wonderful friends. I think sometimes friendships have a season.
Yeah.
They don't always need to be lifelong. And I think those that kind of migrated into the 50s with me are ones that are supposed to be in my life, and the ones that I had to leave behind, that was okay too.
Yeah.
So I really feel solid in my my career. I feel solid in my friendships. I feel solid in my home. I split my time between New York and Martha's Vineyard,
nice.
which also brings me a whole bunch of joy. And then I get up every day and I work on behalf of my girls here in South Africa.
Yeah.
So,
at this particular age, I mean, my mom's pretty much the same age as you. And I know a big part of her journey right now is going through losing a lot of people around you. And funny enough, today, now that I think of it, today is actually my dad's heavenly birthday today.
Is it?
Yeah, so happy birthday to you, Dad. How do you deal with that, the reality of actually losing human beings and them passing away in front of you? Friends, people you've had many memories with.
So, can I tell you, I've been phenomenally lucky in my life.
Yeah.
And so I'll tell you, my mom is healthy, my dad is healthy, my siblings are healthy. My grandmother passed away 2 years ago at 103.
My goodness.
And she was the person I always say loved me most, inspired me most, uplifted me most. And so the fact that I had her literally until 2 years ago, right? I mean, I had my grandmother until I was 54 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, incredible. So, and my friends around me are very, very, very healthy. But can I tell you something? This links to my work, right? So health equity is aligned with being able to live a life free from poverty, right? When you are poor and you can't access your fundamental human rights, generally speaking, you will have a shorter lifespan because of not having access to critical care that you deserve by right of being a human being. So as an American, as somebody who, had the opportunity to be educated and to be from educated parents who had the ability to have thriving and fulfilling livelihoods, I was enriched in a way that my health is fine and those around me, their health is fine. So I haven't actually had to navigate yet that chapter and that challenge, but I do liken it to the blessings that have been bestowed on me by virtue of where I was born and who I was born to.
Yeah.
And, one of the reasons why I fight so hard to align myself with the Sustainable Development Goals to end poverty by 2030 is that poverty will take so much from you, including your access to health and longevity.
Yes.
So
Maslow's hierarchy of needs, 100% that. I want to talk about a chapter that I think somewhat is missing because in this particular space that is Girl Let's Talk, we really are vulnerable with one another. Sometimes we're delusional because, when you're around your girls, you are delusional and you say, yeah, girl, he loves you. And you know he doesn't, right? I want to chat about the post-divorce era.
Sure.
What did you have to mourn about your old life and your old self in that post-divorce era? Because your divorce is different. It's a public one. And people know that, okay, they're not together anymore. What did you have to mourn about that chapter of your life?
I think probably all women who are mothers who get divorced would agree you mourn the family life that you wish you could have continued for your kids, right? And I think that's why a lot of people will stay married even if they are unhappy or even if they know this is not the right decision for them, but they do it for the kids. We hear that all the time, right? I've stayed married for the kids. So, and I think I understand why people would make that choice.
Yeah.
I absolutely do. So I think that would probably be the most difficult aspect of it. Was just the fact that my children, instead of all of us all being under one roof, would now have two homes. Now, my kids were pretty lucky in that our two homes ended up being like almost basically next door to each other. So
I suppose that's convenient.
Right. It was extremely, convenient. And we kept it that way until they, moved off to university. So I guess logistics was a little easier for my kids. But, listen, I think making a decision to end a marriage is always difficult, but at least for myself, it was the right decision for me. It brought me a new level of happiness.
Sure.
And I'm grateful, though, for those years. I met my ex-husband when I was 22.
Sure.
I got married at 27.
My goodness.
And I was married for 20 years. So it was a huge, long part of my life. Yeah. And so I'm extremely grateful for it. But I think, what happened was meant to happen.
At what point I'm trying to find the wording of it. Where do you get the confirmation that it's okay to find love again after divorce? Because some people are committed to, it didn't work. Therefore, then it's done for me when it comes to the love
I was
chapter.
not that person.
Really? She said, I'm outside. Hello.
I was not that person. I was like, hello, do you know someone, anybody who I met? Do you have a friend? 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 No, I was not that person. Now, what's interesting and funny? At the time, though, I was afraid to go online because you have to understand, I was with one person for so long. So when the online dating thing came, I was still married.
My goodness.
So when I was unmarried, I was just like, that is so weird. I cannot do that.
You have to swipe now.
Right. So I was like, I need someone that I know to introduce me to someone. Now, someone that I knew did introduce me to someone.
Oh, wow.
So that's phenomenal. But if that hadn't have happened, just say, if that hadn't have happened, sitting here now today, I probably would totally be okay to go online. And all of my friends are going online, my age, and they are meeting phenomenal men and having second marriages.
My goodness.
Yeah.
And then keeping the surname, didn't that have a particular barrier in dating?
No.
Really?
I kept my surname because I wanted well, first of all, I was Malaak Compton-Rock for so long. It's my identity. But also, I didn't want to have a different last name of my children.
I'm with you.
I did not want to have a different last name with my children. And it's something that not only was accepted by me, accepted by my children, by my ex-husband, by my ex-husband's family, everybody. I'm Malaak Compton-Rock.
Yeah.
That's
it.
Clearly, if I ever got married again, I would not be Malaak Compton-Rock anymore. But
I love that.
No, I'm Malaak Compton-Rock.
But he has to bring an actual rock now so that you can take away the rock from the surname. I think that's a fair trade. So you found your person.
I did.
7 years in. What made him different?
I think we were two people. He also was in a marriage that didn't work out.
Sure.
I think anytime two people were in marriages that don't work out, you kind of do some work on figuring out what didn't work, why it didn't work, what, if you had anything to do with it and things that you'd like to change about yourself.
Yeah. So
I think, that's important. And then I think to meet someone who has some of the same ideals as you, he believes that I do in humanity, and that to whom much is given, much is required. He believes, like I do, that it's impossible to just sit on your laurels if so many other people in the world are suffering.
Yeah.
We like to travel.
Love that.
And I mean,
okay,
like
that's
to
a
have
good
somebody, and we travel the same. We like to do the same types of things when we travel. So yeah.
And then blending the families, how's that been?
Oh, he has great kids. His kids
Really?
are much older than mine, grown. His son is married now. But yeah, everybody's spent plenty of time together. Everybody loves each other, and yeah, it's nice.
That's a beautiful thing, man. I think your life is so... How would I describe it? I think it mirrors a lot of women's stories and a lot of women's journeys to becoming and finding their purpose through it all. And the fact that, sometimes you have to live multiple lives in this one lifetime, and that there really is no full stop in anything. It's one thing ends, we move on to the next thing. I'm open and I'm ready, okay? It's Murder, Nondogozo, Nomfundo Mo, Glory here on Kaya Down 5 Down. It's a special edition of Girl Let's Talk. We've got Malaak Compton-Rock as our guest today. I want to talk about purpose and your journey to finding that. What did that look like, finding your purpose?
Well, you said something earlier in our conversation that I completely agree with, in terms of the fact that we can have multiple lives within this one life, right? So I started my career in entertainment. I 100% thought I would stay in entertainment. Sure. Did not. Moved on to cosmetics.
Oh, wow.
And beauty. I was doing special events and public relations, and while I love those fields, and honestly still love those fields, didn't necessarily feel fulfilled. Yeah. Moved on to nonprofit and worked for UNICEF. And it was through working for UNICEF that I came to the continent for the first time. West Africa, at a time where there unfortunately were many civil wars going on, and UNICEF was helping to reunify child soldiers out of the bush, back with their families if possible, and also provide psychosocial counseling. And my job was to bring UNICEF's ambassadors, which were normally well-known people, to see the work, then come back to the United States and amplify the message of UNICEF. And I had a moment in Liberia in a burnt-out church. A teacher was utilizing UNICEF School in a Box, which is this box of school materials that's translated to every language in the world. Oh, wow. Yeah, where children can be taught, whether it's under a tree, in a burnt-out church, like was in Liberia, in a classroom, wherever, in a home. And I had this little girl come up to me who was probably about 5 or 6, and she came up to me and she looked up and she said, "Hi, ma'am. Please bring me peace, not war." Wow. Please bring me peace, not war. Wow. I was trying to hold it together that trip, because it's a very emotional trip. A flood of tears came out of me. Sure. I was so moved. But, I wish I had an opportunity to meet this little girl who would now be a woman, probably with her own kids, and tell her that message to me changed my life's trajectory, because at that moment I made the decision, if I'm ever so lucky, I want to work on behalf of the vulnerable girl child.
Sure.
And I tell people all the time, my motto in life is service is the rent you pay for living.
Mm-hmm.
And living a life of service has given me opportunities that I cannot even put into words, the places, the people, the opportunities that I've had, simply because I live my life trying my very best to give back.
Yeah.
But I'm the one that's been blessed. I mean, I have been blessed in ways that I honestly cannot even articulate, given the fact that I've had this opportunity.
Do you ever get, I'm going to make up a term, but I think it will make sense.
Okay.
Service fatigue, where you get exhausted from pouring out. And how do you monitor yourself that you don't get a hero complex where you think you can solve everything and, manage the gift of serving in itself?
Okay. Well, I completely understand that I can't solve everything.
Yeah,
so I don't have that. I've never had that complex. Listen, it takes a village, right? It takes a village to raise a child. So I've never thought that I could do it all. Sometimes I get frustrated, particularly because I work primarily in the gender equality and education equity space. Mm-hmm. And I do, and I work in a country where the education system fails a lot of kids.
Yes.
And I work in a country that is rife with gender-based violence. And so sometimes I do get frustrated that I feel like government is not doing what they need to be doing to work on beside those of us, whether it's from the nonprofit space or the corporate space or, the political space, whatever it may be, to do their part to ensure that we meet. There's a bunch of global deadlines that we're trying to meet, and I don't quite. As we get closer, to try to end poverty by 2030, it's like, is that possible for South Africa when the unemployment rate is so high? Is it possible for South Africa when kids don't read for meaning by 4th grade? Is it possible for South Africa when you have a matric rate that you allow children to pass but doesn't allow them to be eligible to go to university?
100%.
How do you, is it going to happen?
Yeah. Let's talk about Angel Rock.
Okay.
13 years, right? What was the intention then, and what has it changed to now?
I love that question. You know why? Because this is what it means as women. We have to be able to pivot. We have to be able to learn. We have to be able to change.
True.
So I've told this story before, so some of you listening might have heard it before, so I'll tell it briefly. But I was visiting on vacation. It was not service, because you guys have a beautiful country.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
literally have a beautiful country.
I would agree.
So it was that typical, you go to Joburg, you go to Soweto, you go to Cape Town, Garden Route, Wine Route, Safari. And I was going to leave. And then at the last moment, I called an old boss who used to be at UNICEF. Now he's at the Elizabeth Glaser AIDS Foundation. But I said, can you get in touch with the UNICEF in South Africa and see if I can see UNICEF's projects? They did. Brought me to Deep Slit. Brought me to visit GoGo-led and orphan-led households. And one particular GoGo said to me after I was in her shack, she said, so what are you going to do? And I said, what do you mean, what am I going to do? She said, I am so sick and tired of people coming, taking pictures, leaving, and not doing anything. So what are you going to do?
Sure.
And I said, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know, but I'll come back. And she said, yeah, right. But I did. I came back 3 months later. I met with that particular GoGo and others, and I basically asked them, what do you need? At that moment, it was to make an income, right? They were caring for their orphan grandchildren. They didn't have money. They didn't understand banking and finance. So that's the first thing I started to do, was income generating schemes, banking and finance training, et cetera, with the group of GoGos, who, by the way, I still work with and I'm going to see tomorrow for our annual lunch when I come to town. That work led me to doing other initiatives, clean and safe water initiatives in the country, food gardening initiatives, did a bunch of work around COVID, and then gender equality work. But at the end of the day, what I realized, if I really want to uplift humanity and I really want to lift people out of poverty, there is only one true engine, and that's education. There is no other way. And I'm not going to take away for what I've done before, but I fully feel with all of my heart and soul, and this is my life's work, that educating the girl child is the best way to lift her up and lift her out of poverty. And you just need one generation. That's it. You just need one generation out of poverty. That's it. And so the Journey for Change Scholars for Girls is a very integrated, holistic education program. Academic enrichment is at the forefront. We see our girls 6 days a week for tutoring, but it's so much more. It's advocacy, it's arts and culture, it's career guidance, it's gender equality, sexual health, reproductive rights, it's mentoring, it's nutritional health, it's mental wellness. We have 8 tenets that allow us to give wraparound full services to our girls and their families, right? Because we have to serve the families too. Our girls live in households with a whole bunch of trauma. A whole bunch of trauma. And if a mom's traumatized, it is very difficult for her to pour what's necessary into her girl child to lift her up. So a lot of our program is also tailored to the mother.
Wow. And then tonight, there's a gala dinner happening tonight. What is that about? Is it also with Journey for Care?
It is. I wouldn't call it a gala dinner. It's a dinner with our supporters thus far and people who I hope will become supporters in the future. I can't do this work alone. So partnering with the South African community is extremely important. But when you come to anything, if you come to a gala or a dinner of mine, you're going to hear from the very people we serve. So there's very little speaking from me, and it's my girls. I have some who are already in university. I have a group going to university next year, and I have my little ones going to high school. And they're going to be the ones to tell the story as to why is it that I'm in university. I'm from Deep Slit. I didn't even know what a diplomat was, and now I'm studying international relations at the University of Pretoria to be a diplomat. Oh, I didn't even know such word as a paleontologist. Now I'm going to Wits to study paleontology, right? They're going to tell the story as to how our program has allowed them not only to dream, but then to put the steps necessary to achieve those dreams.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, I think speaking from a young girl who, I had a teacher, Auntie Petra, and she saw me, and she really actually saw me. So it really makes a huge difference to be seen and to actually be supported and to be given the tools to actually achieve your dreams and to say,
you were
know
mentored.
What? Yes.
You were mentored.
She was amazing.
Yeah.
I source her every time when I think of my schooling years and how, you're in desegregated schools and, the school is trialing you out as students and they don't know what to do with you. And then she really did see me. So I know what the impact of that kind of work is as well. Malaak Compton-Rock, our time is over. Thank you so much.
This was wonderful.
Yeah, so many insights. I think there's really so much that we can learn from this. And also that to whom much is given, much is required.
Absolutely.
And that we too can also give back as well.
100%. Mandela Day on Friday. Everybody can give back.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank
so
you for
much.
having me.